Yeah, yeah. So Christian was able to get back into training this week, and we're hopeful that he continues to make the positive progress that he's made throughout the week into the match this weekend. And if he's fully fit, then I think he's going to factor back in as we expect him to.
What about Ted?
And Ted is probably still another week away. I wouldn't completely rule it out for the weekend, but I want to see how he came out of today's session, and then be able to give a little bit more information as we move into Saturday.
And what in your preparations for the weekend? Messi's obviously a bit hurt. How does that change preparations?
Yeah,
Fresh player.
I think we knew going into this match that they had the schedule that they had, so we wanted to see how they came out of last night. And obviously, last night he comes out of the match in the 55th minute. So what we tried not to do is just to have too much focus on Messi, right, and make sure that we prepare in the way that we need to, no matter if he plays or not. And so now we obviously have to factor in that he may not play, and so now we can fully focus on exactly how we want to approach the match.
Coach, Inter Miami has had a little bit of a loaded schedule, played 3 times in a week. DC's a little bit more well rested. Do those things factor in the preparation?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think it has a lot to do with us trying to continue to stay in our way and stay aggressive and try to be on the front foot, because it's that type of style of play that we want to implement every single match, but particularly in a situation where the opponent has played so many matches in a short period of time and are coming off of a short rest in the midweek match versus Nashville. So that'll definitely factor in, I think.
And when you face a team with these caliber players, a couple of stars, won the World Cup, won the Euros, Busquets, does that also factor into preparation? Do you look at those guys individually, or do you just prepare for the match as a collective team?
Yeah, I mean, look, we try to prepare for the match as best we can in our own way, but we also have to respect the level of talent that this team has. Whether those players play or not on the weekend, that's still unknown. So the best thing that we can do is focus on what we need to do to go and try to get 3 points.
Just so far this season, obviously the season's very young, but you talk about implementing that style of play that fast, kind of running down your throats off the rip. But how have you seen that now progress 3 games in?
Yeah, I'm happy with the way that it started, and I like hearing people identify this. So whenever someone like yourself says that, and last night we had a really good event with some of our supporters, some of our season ticket holders, and many of them, they spoke about our style of play, and they spoke about it in a really accurate way. And they weren't just regurgitating the things that I've said. They're saying what they see for themselves, and that's ultimately when you talk about values, style of play, principles of play, the product that shows up on the weekend is what is going to determine if that's really what you do every single day to prepare yourself to go and try to execute that style of play. And so far, I would say that we've done a very good job of laying a solid foundation, and it's going to be something that we can build off of moving forward.
Going back to Messi, of course you don't really focus on one specific player, but I guess he's kind of an example of maybe that's the outlier. Is it a little bit of a sigh of relief or anything in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, yes, you have to say that, right? Him not being in the match, he's the best player all time. There's no doubt about that. So him not being in the match certainly allows our players to not have as much focus on someone of that level of talent. On the other hand, I think there's also a part of all these players that wants to try to go and go up against the best player of all time, right? So, there's the competitive side of that as well. We played against him last year, and he came on as a reserve whenever I was with Red Bull. And I can tell you, even in that short amount of time, he showed what his capability level is, and probably made one of the best passes of all time to score one of the best goals of all time that I've seen. So I'd like to not have to prepare for him if possible.
All right, very unrelated to this weekend, but I know you're a CFC guy. You spent a decade there.
Yeah.
I want to know kind of your thoughts on them punching their ticket to the big dance. They did it in DC just
Yeah.
2 days ago.
I was incredibly proud to watch what they did. I watched the semifinals and the finals. In the semifinals, I was a little worried for a stretch of time towards the end of the second half, and then they turned it on. And they have an aggressive style of play, and really they stick to their style of play, and that's what I think brought them into being able to make the tournament again. I don't know Pat Kelsey, but he's someone that's brought just a really, really positive impact to the Charleston community.
Coach, you mentioned that you did not focus on Messi during the week, but
Yeah.
did you change anything today, knowing say that your players are more relieved or disappointed that this was not?
Yeah, I mean, what I talked about earlier is probably how I would answer that. I think that there's an awareness that he may not play now because of last night, and there's probably half of our group, or at least some of our group, that says, all right, now we don't have to worry about someone of that level being in the match for this weekend. And then there's another part of the group that probably wanted him to play to try to test themselves and our club against the best of all time. I would just say that our preparation this week is really focused on us, and that's you're going to hear me say that a lot, but it's where we are right now in the process of trying to build something ourselves. So we're not focused on too many other opponents, and even as great as the talent is in Inter Miami, we're really trying to focus on ourselves.
Anything new with Mo?
No, nothing new there.
Still listed as injured? Or?
No, he's not injured. He's training with us right now and just still in the same situation. Yep.
Now we'll take some questions from Zoom, Sam.
Hey, Troy.
How you doing?
I have one question here from Charlie Bowen.
Yep.
Unmute.
Hey Troy, can you hear me?
Yeah. How you doing, Charlie?
Good. Congrats on a good start. I have two questions I'll ask separately, if that's okay. The first is I wanted to get your take on Christian's surprise that he sprung on you guys and on the team bus the other day, and if you knew that was happening, and what that means in terms of what you're building culturally.
Yeah, Charlie, you'd be surprised. I've been asked this question probably 5-6 times over the last 3 or 4 days, and I think the reason I've been asked that is because it is a little bit of an outlier, especially for a player of Christian Benteke's profile, right? But if you've been around Christian Benteke for any stretch of time, it's not really out of the norm for someone like him. He is absolutely a team-first guy, a very selfless individual. And the only thing that I told Christian was, man, you could have flown with us. There's no reason for you to fly commercial and buy your own ticket. But he didn't want to be a distraction either. He wanted to show up. He wanted to support the group and let the group know that he was right there behind us at a really difficult place to play in Cincinnati. And, he flew back with us and was on the flight back home. And he's had a good week of training. And I've said this a couple times as well. Hopefully I don't have to answer questions like that of him surprising us. Hopefully he's in the team every single week, and we can continue to have performances like he had in the first week.
And also, taking into mind everything you've already said about the weekend and how you focus on yourselves, whether or not Messi plays, this is still a big team that has an international spotlight. I was wondering if that's something you plan to address and maybe use as another carrot for your guys to know that maybe they have a brighter spotlight on them this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, look, on the one hand, obviously you can talk about Messi potentially not playing and likely not playing, it seems, and focus on that subject matter. That's absolutely not the subject matter that I'm going to focus on. I think you can imagine that with our group. We're going to talk a lot more about Suarez potentially being in the mix, Busquets being in the mix, Alba being in the mix. And if those guys don't play, guess what? Now they have Campana, who's a top player. They have Robert Taylor, Redondo's coming into their team now. So there's many other players outside of they're some of the best players in the league. And we have to respect that. And they're also led by one of the best coaches in the league. So, the result that Montreal was able to get there a week ago, and a group that was rotated by Inter Miami for that match, if we see something similar to that, then we want to try to go and approach it and get 3 points and not worry about the personnel that's in the match on the day.
And Troy, we had one submitted by media on Zoom for you to answer. After 2 games on the road, how important is it for us to be back playing in front of the home fans, and how big of a role do they play with the team?
Yeah, I was really impressed with, especially under the conditions of the first home match. It was really cold, it was rainy, and the level of support and the level of enthusiasm that was in the stadium on the day. I think this weekend we're going to get some nicer weather. It's an afternoon kickoff, and I'm looking forward for being my first match with our supporters and being on the touchline. So we want to deliver 3 points, and we're very much ready to be back home.
Thanks. And then we have one more from Dennis Gomez. Go ahead, Dennis.
Good afternoon, Troy. Thank you for speaking with us. What would you like your team to continue to do on Saturday that you like them do on the previous 3 games?
Yeah, I want to continue to see us stay in an aggressive manner. I've said that word countless times, but that is part of our style of play. And when you play against a team like Inter Miami, again, regardless of the personnel, they have a lot of quality on the ball, and they can break any opponent down. And they're going to break us down at times on Saturday. But we want to try to stick to what we believe in and what our identity is. And I think if we do that against a high-quality opponent and really try to go for the game in an aggressive manner, then we're going to be able to deliver 3 points.